So, um, ladies, you guys gotta understand. So I had primary custody of my daughter from like 5, from the time she was, I want to say no 2, to probably about like 9, and she was with her mom on the weekends. So I had Friday nights. That was a day that I had to myself. I had Friday to Saturday overnight that she'll be with her mom, and then she would be with her mom Wednesday after school until the next morning. So I had 2 days free. I didn't have time to date. And then whenever I would date women that had kids, I noticed like they expected me to do for their children like I did for mine, and it's impossible because I fought for court for my daughter. I fought for court. I spent hours, months studying. I didn't have a lawyer. I represented myself against the lawyer and I won custody because I took the time and I studied and I did all of those things. I spent time with my daughter. Um, I didn't. I worked part-time and went to school so I can give her all of the attention she needed, because I was taught that the first 5 years were the most important, and the first 2 were spent with her mom and I arguing and fighting. So I made sure that the other 3 was important. Now, if that's how I raised my daughter from birth to 5, how can I step into your life as a stepdad and help you when you haven't disciplined your child? Your children have no structure, they have no order. You have to understand, as a good dad, helping you with your children is taking away from mine. How could you want a good dad if a dad is so willingly to give away resources to your children, which take away from his? Ask yourself, what type of dad that's dedicated to his children, why would he take resources away from his children and give them to your children? How does that benefit him? How does that benefit him? When you are in a situation with a guy, if you guys have kids and you guys have one kid together, and then he continues to give money to his brother or sister to help them with their child constantly, you're gonna like, well, why? They have their own. We have our own problems. That's how it is. Essentially, what's happening that women refuse to see is that men look at being a stepfather in the exact same way that they look at being a housewife. Like, they're like, that's old. We don't want to do that. This isn't 1950. And we're telling them, like, you know what? You're right. Being a stepdad is old. This isn't 1980. That was 40 years ago. 1980 was 40 years ago. 40 years ago, guys wanted to be stepdads because stepdads got authority and got praise. That doesn't happen anymore. Guys don't want to be stepdads. You guys don't get that. The only guys that just don't care and don't accept it are guys either desperate for sex, desperate for a place to stay, or that's really it. Desperate for sex or desperate for a place to stay. Not necessarily desperate just to have sex, but desperate to have consistent sex. Like, pick your struggle.